This is Mac OS Ken.
Evercore goes deep on Apple Car. Europe invites tech CEOs to a showdown. And an interesting antitrust complaint. It is Monday, the 25th of January, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Get $35 off your order using promo code MacOSKen at sunbasket.com/MacOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSKen. Another financial analyst has gone hardcore Apple Car ahead of this week's earnings. One may have nothing to do with the other. Certainly, Apple execs are not going to announce an Apple Car on Wednesday's call. But Apple sentiment is running high, and now, bam, a second note about Apple Car days before the earnings report. Midweek last week, it was Cowen Company analyst Krish Sankar. Then Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani ended the week last week getting behind the imaginary wheel. Apple 3.0 ran the note wherein Ad Rock set out 6 key observations. Boiling those down, 1, he is into Apple's soup to nuts approach, doing hardware, software, silicon, and so on. 2, Apple could make up for generally low margins in cars with money made in services. 3, don't undersell mobility. iPhone is a mobile computer. Apple Car will be too. 4, the total addressable market is a gargantuan $3 trillion, though he stresses again that services are where the money will be for Apple. 5, Apple will work with contract manufacturers to bring this premium car to consumers. And 6, the car could add $36 billion in sales, or 30 cents in earnings per share, in the long run. And yeah, he probably means long run. He and his see an increased probability that Apple will have a product here in the next 5 years. It seems unlikely that they would start making money on that right away, though. Between now and then, Daryanani says he's got a near-term bullish bias driven by the trifecta of iPhone supercycle, monetization of install base, and GM expansion. He's got an outperform rating on Apple shares. He used Friday's car note to up his price target on the shares from $145 to $160. Now here is a phrase that we haven't heard in a while. Apple set new intraday and closing highs on Friday. Mac Daily News says Apple shares were up $2.20 to end the week last week, closing at $139.07. They got a lot higher partway through the day, though, hitting $139.85. The company ended the day with a market valuation of $2.341 trillion. I will tell you the next numbers make my head hurt. Apple's valuation of $2.3 trillion is $633 billion higher than second place Microsoft, with a market valuation of $1.7 trillion. Amazon's third with a valuation of $1.65 trillion, followed by Alphabet with $1.28 trillion. Tesla rounds out the 5 most valuable publicly traded companies in the U.S. with a market valuation of $800 billion. The good news for Apple shares comes ahead of this week's earnings report. That's set for this Wednesday, after which there will be an earnings call, jelly beans and deviled eggs to be served after. You can catch the call live on Apple's Investor Relations page, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. The company will also make it available as a podcast. People will be tweeting about it. Bloggers will be blogging about it. We'll have a first look at that on that day's Mac OS Ken Live. And of course, we'll go a bit deeper on the following day's Mac OS Ken. Here is a funny headline from Apple Insider. European lawmakers invite Tim Cook to tech power hearing. See, if somebody invited me to Europe, I'd assume that they were offering me a place to stay. They wanted to show me the sights, maybe. This is not that. Rather, the piece says the European Parliament has asked for Apple CEO Tim Cook to join other major CEOs at a hearing on the 1st of February, with lawmakers aiming to discuss changes that could curtail the power of Apple, Google, Amazon, and Facebook on the continent. That's like being invited out behind the shed for a whooping. Reuters got a look at the invitation. They say it says the purpose of the planned hearing is to have an exchange with the chief executive officers of the 4 globally leading platform companies to learn about their current business models and future concepts as they face the challenges of altering market conditions. Lackeys need not apply. The piece says the invitations are for the CEOs only and not subordinates or other executives. Demanding and on a short time frame. Invitation really sounds like the wrong word. Not that the EU wants to be all stick on this one. According to Apple Insider, the 1st of February date isn't set in stone, as lawmakers are apparently willing to change it to another in February or March to meet the needs of the CEO group. This may not be enough to encourage their attendance, as report sources doubt the invitations will be accepted. Here's a story that's strange on a few levels. 9to5Mac says somebody has filed another antitrust complaint against Apple. That part is not surprising. Throw a rock and you'll hit an antitrust complaint against Apple. The complaint targets Google as well. Again, not a huge surprise. The surprises are further in. Like the app in question has been published to Apple and Google's app stores. Yet still the suit. The app has a new name, though. The developer had called the app Corona Control Game, based, it would seem, on COVID-19 or maybe just coronavirus in general. Of course, as 9to5Mac points out, Apple and Google each have policies of only allowing COVID-19 related apps that are government approved to keep important health information in check. Apple's gone even further, saying as far back as last March that it would not approve entertainment or game apps with COVID-19 as their theme. So even if, as the developer argues, the game was aimed at encouraging compliance with government COVID-19 rules, you kind of had to know that no might be the answer. Both the App Store and the Google Play Store rejected the app under its old name back in November. The developer changed the name to Viral Days in December, when both app stores allowed the game in. Still, the developer is suing. Well, 9to5Mac says he's actually filed an antitrust complaint against both companies with the European Commission on the premise that Apple and Google are stifling innovation. The way the developer's complaint puts it, the stated goal of ensuring the credibility of health and safety information does not justify blanket rules based on authorship or merely the combination of a broad category and a topic. And he is someone who might know something about such things. The developer is Florian Mueller, app developer, intellectual property activist, and author of the Foss Patents blog, which covers issues tied to patents and copyrights. So just me? Or does it sound like he's picking a fight? More news in a moment, but first a word from Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. Every Sunbasket meal is filled with only premium quality real food, including organic fresh produce, antibiotic and hormone-free meats, and sustainably sourced seafood from suppliers they know and trust. Whether it's a meal kit that you make yourself or their fresh and ready meals, everything that I've had from Sunbasket has been wonderful. Now, the fresh and ready meals are particularly cool because they're fresh and they're ready for the oven or the microwave, which means they could be on the table in as little as 6 minutes. Meals like beef chili with cheddar and Greek yogurt, creamy mushroom penne with baby spinach and almonds. I had the butter chicken with basmati rice pilaf recently. It was great. And here's what else is great. Fresh and ready meals are just $8.99, so they're good for your body and your budget. And you can try them for less. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macOSKen and enter promo code macOSKen. So seriously, about that pacemaker. Mac Rumor says Apple has gone a bit more in-depth on iPhone 12, MagSafe accessories, and medical device interference. According to the piece, Apple on Saturday added the following clarification. Medical devices such as implanted pacemakers and defibrillators might contain sensors that respond to magnets and radios when in close contact. To avoid any potential interactions with these devices, keep your iPhone and MagSafe accessories a safe distance away from your device, more than 6 inches apart or more than 12 inches apart if wirelessly charging, but consult with your physician and your device manufacturer for specific guidelines. As for the MagSafe stuff, Apple says all MagSafe accessories, each sold separately, also contain magnets. And MagSafe Charger and MagSafe Duo Charger contain radios. These magnets and electromagnetic fields might interfere with medical devices. While this has gotten a decent amount of attention over the past few weeks, Apple continues to stress that even with the extra magnets, iPhone 12 isn't believed to pose a greater risk for implant interference than earlier models of iPhone. That said, if you are concerned, you may want to talk to your doctor. News of another series for Apple TV Plus. Cult of Max says Captain Marvel's Brie Larson will lead the series Lessons in Chemistry for the Cupertino streamer. A piece from Variety has a description of the series. Set in the early 1960s, the piece says Larson plays Elizabeth Zott, an unmarried scientist fired from her job when she's found to be pregnant. She ends up the host of a cooking show, which she uses to teach science to the nation. No word on when the series will hit, proving that these are crazy times in which we live. Lessons in Chemistry is based on a book by the same name. Don't bother checking for it now, though. The piece says the book isn't due out until sometime in 2022. By the time it hits, Lessons will likely be Larson's second series for Apple TV+. She's expected to star in an upcoming series based on the book, Life Undercover, Coming of Age in the CIA. And finally today, we know the next stop for the art outside of Apple's shuttered store in Portland, Oregon. Apple Insider says it's being handed off to the nonprofit Don't Shoot PDX for safekeeping. Portland's Apple Pioneer Place was looted and vandalized last year during the protests and riots that followed the murder of George Floyd. Apple put up plywood barricades to prevent further damage. Shortly after the barricade went up, the report says, local artist Emma Berger on the 1st of June painted a portrait of Floyd with the words, "I can't breathe," on the wood cladding. Others followed her lead, drawing artwork and writing messages relating to the Black Lives Matter movement. And that impressed Apple. Apple Insider quotes a statement from the Cupertino company saying, "Artists in the Portland community reimagined the blank canvas surrounding our Pioneer Place Apple Store and created a monumental art piece honoring the ongoing fight for justice and the lives of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. Apple stands in support of the artists and all who are fighting for social and racial justice." No word on ultimate plans for the art, aside from keeping it safe. Meanwhile, the piece says Apple's Pioneer Place store remains closed as repairs to the location continue. Coming up in a few minutes, we are spending the week with Brian Chaffin, editor-in-chief of the Mac Observer. Today we find out what's wrinkling Brian's brain, and I learned something too. Cryptocurrency. It's news to Brian. Find out why in a few minutes. Look for that show and subscribe wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken Live goes live again today, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern, other times, other places. You can find it live on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. You can catch a replay there later, or of course, you can grab the audio podcast, macOS Ken Live, wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.